Hey man, how's it going?
Howdy doody. Okay, how about you?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Just hanging out, I guess, and doing my thoughts for this predictions video that we've been talking about doing. So, yeah, how about everything with you? Pretty normal?
Yeah. It was actually sunny when I woke up this morning, and then I blinked my
Oh,
eyes, and all of a sudden it was afternoon. I was like, what? So
that
I gotta
happens.
try and
Yeah,
be better about that, and just actually like put my feet on the floor and stand up. Because once that happens, I'm up. But
for
if
sure.
I if I just close my eyes just a little bit, all of a
Mhm.
sudden going from 9:30 is now 10:15. It's like what?
Yeah, it's horrible when you don't have a solid schedule, right? It's hard to get up and do stuff. I hear you.
It's awful but
Um,
amazing.
yeah, I suppose you can always do whatever you want, but then you kind of lack any purpose. But
Uh,
any case,
That's my
it's I'm sure
conundrum.
I'm sure you will soon. In any case, for this, we're kind of diving into something. You have a bit of a purpose for here. Did you
Yeah.
do any more consideration for this?
I didn't want to dwell too much into it because I wanted to have my own opinions on it because like we talked a little bit about it last time, like
Yeah.
very little, and a couple of these things I'm like, oh, they could do this, but because of
Right.
how the latest season was, and which is so far has been our best, most viewed video,
Yeah. Well, and
um,
I'm sure a lot of people
I'm pretty sure
feel the same way about it. Yeah.
my enthusiasm for this new part two season's probably I'm gonna hold back a lot more on it than I was originally when the first part
Mhm.
got put out. I was so excited because we were like, Children of the Bog,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
Parasites Regained, oh my
I
god!
know. Well,
And
I'll tell
then
you what
it
though.
happened, and
Uh,
it
yeah.
went from a
Yeah.
supreme steak to like
Yeah. As a
bad street meat.
as a small little taste of what we talked about for about an hour and 45 minutes in our
Oh
previous
yeah,
discussion.
we had to take a break at one point because
Yeah,
we were
there's
like, oh, this was supposed to take about half an hour, but no, we were talking
no
for
there's a
about an
lot to
hour.
talk about. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, our both of our opinions of the first half of this season were not high, and they were not good for what they've done, especially with the kind of trust and care that they've proven over the course of the last several years, and
Yeah.
especially with several different companies running it at this point, right? So like Fox, Comedy Central, whoever was doing it with the film. I guess that's still Fox, 20th Century Fox at the time. But whatever the case, this one, if you want, we can also do it where when we're discussing these episode titles, right? Because we're going to predict. We can do a fun little, if they're different, obviously, if they're different from our actual release, we can talk about what we want it to be, what we like consider what it could be based on the title, but also what it probably will be, knowing how we know how things are written these days. So we can kind of look into it that
Unfortunately,
way.
after time and time again, go, oh, this looks like it could be a good show. I haven't had a new
Yeah.
show. I want a new show to watch. Oh, it's written this way and starring this type of person.
This type of thing, exactly. And
Uh,
you know what? To the credit of last season, a little bit is that although the episodes were not good, they were what we predicted them to be a lot of the time. Children of the Bog,
generally, yes,
liked,
yes.
and it turned out to absolutely be about Kif and Amy's kids. Parasites Regained definitely had the parasites in it, although they weren't needed in the episode whatsoever.
Not really.
Um, any
Rage
like
Against the Vaccine. We knew
Rage
that was
Against
going
the
to be about
Vaccine kind of
COVID.
predicted it was going to be this or whatever, and then even was it Zap
Zap
gets
gets canceled.
canceled? That
Yeah.
was, I mean, that's an obvious one, but so these things happen, and I think it's going to be the same thing for this side of the season. We'll see. A few of them kind of stand out to me. Others are kind of like a little bit more iffy, but we can definitely try and predict what might happen. So why don't we look at the first one, the One Amigo? And for those of you who don't speak Spanish, amigo means friend.
Oh, does it?
It does. Of course, it should be like le uno amigo,
Oh
but
yeah, yeah.
whatever.
Uno.
Although I'm nowhere near a Spanish proficient, anywhere near Spanish proficiency, but I'm pretty
It,
sure it's supposed to be
it,
that. But in any case, One Amigo is probably related to Bender due to the fact that Bender is Mexican and they speak
which
mostly Spanish. So
if we're gonna go that route, then why is John DiMaggio playing him? He's not Mexican.
you know what though, Mexicans can also be quite light skinned.
Yes, but
So
that still doesn't matter about heritage. Blah 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 blah. I think it's
sure,
stupid. I'm making fun of the idiots that question
yeah,
that
they're
stuff.
gonna joke about it. I know.
Um, it, You know what? If this was like not quite a sequel to that one episode in the Comedy Central one where Hermes and Bender go on an adventure, where they go to Mom's factory where she
Yep.
has I can't remember what that
number
painting's
5.
called. Yeah,
Yeah.
Inspector number 5.
Tijuana.
Yeah, Tijuana. And it's maybe something from that happens. That would be pretty cool if it was an adventure thing. But from how they have played everything, Fry's gonna be put in the background, and it's probably gonna be Bender and some new girl or some love interest he has. The Crushinator would be awesome, but she's married to a Bender lookalike, which maybe that's what happens.
Well, he's dead now, though.
Yeah. Billy West.
Didn't Clamps kill him?
Yeah, Clamps. Sorry, Clamps killed him.
Yeah. Okay. Well, actually, playing on that idea you just mentioned about with Hermes and Bender, I kind of forgot about that episode. That's right. When he's
dude, that's like one of my favorite heartfelt ones. They
it's
have
a very
like
good
maybe
one. Yeah,
one
like
a season
Bender,
or one every
Bender
2
finds
seasons.
out that he's not like immortal or whatever, and so he has to go and figure out what happened. And then number 5 is Hermes, the One Amigo. So my thought on this, playing on that a bit, maybe Bender finds out, and maybe he goes on some kind of soul searching thing to find out what it was about number 5, and maybe there's something about Hermes or something. But why it's just the one friend, the One Amigo? Maybe it's because he was the only friend he ever had. No, that doesn't make sense. I don't know. Yeah,
it's most likely something to do with Bender.
It's definitely going to be something with Bender, and it has to be something to do with. I'm guessing it has to do something with Mexico. Otherwise, why would they use Spanish?
Oh, perfect thought.
It shows here the director is supposed to, the writer, Eric Horsted. I believe he's done.
He was the one that did the Children of the Lesser Bog.
Okay.
Which was not terrible by any means.
No,
it was written well, just it wasn't really funny for a Futurama episode.
Actually, it's funny as well because Children of the Lesser Bog is also kind of a heartfelt one, right? So there could be another feeling of this kind of thing. So we could go with that. One Amigo. Okay. Well, let's move on then to the Quids Game. I'm believing this is kind of a play on words of the Squid Game, being that like S is, on the back or whatever. But it's also quid is like British for like their pound. They use that to be pounds or something.
I don't know. I've never been.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else. Quids Game.
It's probably going to be some kind of either British version of the Squid Game, or it's something completely different and it's a bait and switch, which is something that they use quite a lot.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think of like Quids Game. I mean, it could also just be a weird. I mean, so you mentioned this episode last time was the assy come home, and except for his ass, it doesn't really have anything else to do with that. Although he does say the line assy, like assy, you're here, like. I don't know. Quids Game is kind of it's a strange title. I'm actually quite intrigued by that one because I'm not sure what it could be. This is one of the few that I find are like kind of weird. But it's probably some kind of game where they all have to compete against each other. Maybe for money, maybe for a quid. But why would they do British pounds? That doesn't make sense. They don't even have that anymore in the Futurama universe.
No, they're still England.
Yeah, but they don't. They use like a centralized currency, right? It's Earth, right?
Yeah. So, that makes sense.
Yeah.
No, just.
It's called quid.
if I was looking at Reddit the other day, and just because I have Futurama, I like one of the pages from Futurama. Someone posted something about this like these episodes. It's very funny. They had all these ideas and stuff like that, but they didn't have an idea for this one. I think there's a few of them, and I was just like, it's kind of funny. Just like people love the show. It's like, yeah, I don't know what this is about, but I'm gonna speculate about it. Like what we're doing. It's fun. This is what nerds and geeks used to do, and. I don't know what to think of this one, to be honest. Like it's just it's something to do with Squid Game because it's just missing the S, and maybe that's the joke for it. I don't know.
Well, that's the thing. As you said, it could be like some kind of bait and switch where they're just using a clever title, and then it has something to do with either a quid or a game, or like a quid game is something that's made up in Futurama's universe.
Okay. I found the post. Here's what this person speculates.
Okay, right, go for it.
So Fry gets abducted by aliens, and then he's forced to relive his 8th birthday party involving a party games to the death.
That's a weird prediction and oddly specific. I feel like that person has some inside information that we don't. That's very strange.
Again, he's missing a few of them. So the One Amigo, Bender meets a new relative in Mexico at his home village. That one is okay. Maybe it's a brother or something like that. But then again, who knows?
Yeah.
But we already talked about that one. No worries.
You know what? I want
the Fry getting
that
abducted by aliens and being forced to play games to the death makes a little more sense, because that's kind of what happened in Squid Games in a way. They didn't get abducted per se, but they all kind of got like, hey, you want to do this? Yeah, okay. I have a gambling problem. Yeah, why not? Oh,
you mean we kill each other? That they would have a character. Hopefully, it would be Fry. That would go back to having him be a main character, right?
Yeah, I don't know about him reliving his 8th birthday party involving the party games. That part doesn't make sense unless is Quid some kind of different numeral for 8?
Something to do with a number. Yeah, I mean, it definitely is. I can't remember it per se, but that very well could be. Very well could be. And the Quid could also be the aliens that abduct him and do this kind of thing. Okay, whoever this person is.
Oh yeah, they'd probably be squids.
If they get this right,
then
British
squids.
Oh yeah, right. This person probably has inside information if they get this dead on, because that's like way too odd to predict. Yeah.
As far as I see, the person doesn't say anything about like I have insider about it or anything like that. It's just him speculating.
Sure. And I mean, if he's not and he gets that incredibly correct, that's like some pretty good guessing. That's incredibly, really, 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 really good guessing.
Again, I agree with him about everything but the 8th birthday party thing.
Sure. Okay, well, let's move on to the 10th.
Oh, but hold on. What's our hopes for this one? Do we have high hopes for this one, or we're just like we're kind of in the dark in this one and don't really know? We're more in the dark, I think, in this. Like, mind you, we're speculating. We don't know anything about these episodes other than the titles.
Based off of the previous half, I'm not super high in terms of like my hopes for it, but I don't think it's going to be like anything horrible, like 2 or 3 out of 10 type of thing. I think at worst maybe a 6. It'll be like an assy come home type of situation, but I do think that this one has potential, especially if it does focus on Fry. That would be good.
This one was also written by the guy who did the Rage Against the Vaccine episode.
Interesting. Okay. Well, we'll see. I'm benefit of the doubt. If this guy does this one and I do like it, then obviously I have nothing against his writing, but the item of his previous writing with Rage Against the Vaccine, I feel, is that it
was a fail.
He was an American at the time in America when this happened and knew as much as any other American person did and used that, and they're making fun of what they're allowed to make fun of now. That's all it was. This time, Quids Game. And if it's playing off Squid Game, I don't see any reason that they can't make that funny. So we'll see.
They're a little late, though. Squid Game was like 2 years ago. I think I was still in Calgary at that point when it came out. So that was like 2020.
Yeah, maybe. No. It was like 2022 or something. Because it came out. I'm not going to bother
looking up, but
it came out during the pandemic.
It was one of those things where people were watching it during the pandemic, yeah. And it was at like the end where people were still wanting to stay inside or whatever. But it wasn't Tiger King. It wasn't Tiger King. That's all I remember.
No, that's right. I think it came out after. That was around that time, though, that Tiger King thing. But in any case, let's move on to the Temp. So this will be the third one of the returns, the 13th episode here. Now, you had a pretty good idea for this one.
Yes.
What was your idea again?
So the whole thing was like you were talking about Igner, which is Farnsworth's son.
Yeah,
the actual heir.
Never talked about it. Yeah, they haven't talked about it since. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. Here, just yes or no question. Do you think that Qbert, being a clone of the professor, has more rights to stuff when the professor dies, or does Igner? Because there was an episode about this. Technically, Farnsworth wouldn't die if there was a clone of him.
Overclockwise kind of touched upon this because they treat Qbert the same as Hubert, which is why he gets off on Double Jeopardy or whatever. Yeah. I would say that Qbert, in the professor's eyes, Qbert is still his son, and he did raise him.
So he would have more of a right than Igner because he hasn't technically declared Igner as a son or whatever.
Yes, and Qbert is also technically older, and he has no other parents. So I think that Igner is older, so he's not going to. He also has mom is like his mother, who is like the literally the most powerful being in the universe as of the Mamazon episode. he's perfectly fine if Farnsworth were to die or anything, right? So he doesn't really need anything. Qbert, on the other hand, has no other relative. He has no other parent except for Qbert. So I would say that he has better rights to it.
Well, Zoidberg's his godfather, like that one episode.
Zoidberg's his godfather. That's right. Oh.
So speaking of that one episode you talked about from last season, related to items you've viewed, the Mamazon episode, same writer for this episode. But my idea for this one, called the Temp, was that somehow Igner runs away from mom and becomes a temp at Planet Express. And then, there might be more relationships. Maybe they know how to write a good father-son episode, which it's Hollywood currently. They don't like fathers at the moment. So that's my hope for this episode, is to have a good, like, I accept you as my son, even though you're a dumb idiot and you make me mad to call myself homo. Right. Same genius. Sorry.
That's right. Yeah. But there was also, because they kind of have that at the end of Bender's game, right? They kind of have that meeting or whatever.
We both ate
give
my
boy a hug, and we both eated the crystals or whatever he says. And so I think there is that heartfelt moment on there. It's just like, why haven't
they haven't expanded? They haven't expanded.
Why
at all.
haven't we seen
There's been 4 seasons?
Mm-hmm. Like, okay, so let's play on your idea for a second. I would not want them to do this. So let's say the temp is indeed Igner. He leaves mom for whatever reason. He's finally had it with her slapping and the brothers teasing him, whatever. He leaves. And then Farnsworth is like, why don't you come live with me? You can work with me and we can do all this kind of stuff. And they have that little odd couple duo thing. Now, what I like that idea. What I wouldn't want, though, is like, why is Igner here, Professor? He's like, oh, I've been taking care of Igner for years. He and I have been meeting for coffees and having this relationship we've never seen. And I would hate for that to happen, because then it's like, what, seriously? Because that would have been a lot of funny episodes. Like,
exactly.
Why would you have done that? So
because
I hope
Professor's smart and then Ignor's super dumb. It'd be opposites. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Embarrassed of his son, maybe, but that still could have been a good episode. Like, this is such a strange thing to reintroduce that, and then it's like, oh, and he's working for me. Like, there's way too much going on.
Definitely would not want that to be. That would be my asterisk. That not have him like, oh yeah, we've already had a past and everything. It's like, no, I haven't. I forgot about it. I haven't talked to him since that one debacle.
And this flashback to Bender's game doesn't count.
Yeah.
So I would say that. And the only other thing I suggested maybe for the temp was obviously not going the Igner route, but it would be like somebody from the Planet Express maybe quits and they work for mom. This is another mom episode.
or even Wernstrom or something like that, which would also be funny.
Oh, you know what? That's funny.
It'd be Amy. It'd be Amy, because
Amy leaves and she becomes a temp. Ooh.
Yeah.
She finally but why would she be angry with the professor? Unless she's not angry. She just leaves. And she's
like that job. One. Yeah, that could be it. But that one episode with the cat's attack or whatever from one of the other seasons, she's been a grad student since then, right? She's like since episode 2 when we first meet her, she's been a grad student. Yeah. And it's been 40 years or whatever.
But he even says in that episode, like, oh, you could have like done your thesis at any point. I just didn't do it. And she's like, what? Seriously? So, but at the end of that episode, she becomes a doctor. She's a.
I guess that's true. Yeah.
She has a doctorate in physics, right? So
why would she still be working for the professor as like his like assistant or something like that?
Again, they haven't really touched up on this. So you know what? This is a perfect time. Another continuation thing. Amy's like, I actually need a job, you guys. I don't really do much with the professor anymore because I've graduated like 12 years ago. So now is the time. So yeah, maybe I could see that.
I still like my idea, but I like the other two options, which is just someone from Futurama goes and temps at somewhere else. Mm-hmm. I like the Amy one the most out of that one. Like Fry doing it for Wernstrom would also be a little funny, but I don't know how that would quite work.
Why would Wernstrom bring in Fry? Yeah, exactly. And you know what, Fry,
delivery boy.
Fry, Leela, and even now Bender, even with that items you viewed, like with the Mamazon one, all of them have left and got new jobs. So it's time for someone else to do so. Hermes won't. Zoidberg can't. So we're going to say Amy. I think Amy would be better. Yeah. Good. No, I really like that idea. All right. Next one. Beauty and the Bug. playing off the name Beauty and the Beast. Oh boy. So I kind of had an idea that this would be something related to Kif, but then I realized like Kif's not a bug. he's a
He's an
lizard
amphibian that turns into
Yeah.
J hookworms or something like that as
Oh,
his final side.
okay. So it is kind of okay. So I was kind of thinking about that.
Yeah,
Beauty,
you canceled yourself before I
Yeah.
like uncanceled you. That's what I do, people. I uncancel my friends.
uncancel. Your Hollywood needs you right now for some people.
They're all canceled. I don't care.
But Beauty and the Bug. Okay, so this was the second one I would say was kind of baffles me a little bit. There's not much I can really think.
This one's written by Patrick M. Vernon. He did the Impossible Stream from last season, the first episode.
The first
which
episode back.
wasn't terrible. I think my appreciation for that episode had gone up over time, but it's still mid at best. So,
Definitely mid at best. Beauty.
I'm pretty sure he's done a whole bunch of other stuff too, but
let's see here. So Beauty might it could relate to Leela. It could relate to Amy. Okay, so if this is a Kif and Amy episode again, Beauty and the Bug, it could be something to do with maybe. Oh no, they wouldn't do that. They wouldn't have Kif turn into his bug form during the series, right? They wouldn't do that because his parents are like, right? So it's like Amy's like, oh, I'm now with Kif, and now Kif has turned into these bugs, and now I have
swarm of bugs.
Yeah, now I'm married to a swarm of bugs. I don't think they would do that.
That would be a very odd choice to do.
Yeah, because he can't go back from that. Kif would literally be bugs.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. It's an alien species. They make up their crap on the spot for that stuff. So
that's true. And how old is the grand midwife and the grand like whatever like that woman that's always in the bog? Like, she's old.
Very true. Yeah.
So she's never turned into her stage, right? Or hookworm stage. So like, what exactly entails that species to turn into the bugs, into the hookworms? I wonder.
It's a life cycle thing. I don't know. It's like a eggs to tadpoles to juvenile frogs, and those into actual frogs, and then dead. As far as I know, and he's technically an amphibian, which is like his species is called the amphibians or something like that. So I don't know. His
planet is the amphibiosis or something. So he's known as that, just like we would be known as Earthlings, but we're not Earthlings. We're human, right? Yeah. Like his species name is different, but.
A dog is technically an earth.
Exactly. That's an Earthling. I would say if they were to do this,
or Terran,
right? If they were to do this, I would say maybe it would be something. And that'd be strange though, because they just had their kids too. I
honestly don't have any kind of idea what this would be, but like just because this is one of the things that people were talking about from the latest cancellation, the second last episode. Zoidberg and his girlfriend, I can't remember her name, but she was played by Amelia Clark, beautiful woman in real life.
Don't remember her name.
No, I can't remember. Okay. Amelia? No, that's literally the actor's name.
That's the actress, you're right. Doesn't matter. Okay, go on.
Marianne.
Right.
So the only reason thing, because crustaceans are like water bugs. I'm taking a little bit of a leap here. I'm not saying this is it, but Beauty and the Bug. It could be a follow up on Zoidberg and Marianne. I would love that.
Me too.
But
it should be Beauty and the Slug then, or Beauty and like something related to Zoidberg or something.
Yeah.
Beauty and the Crab, something like this, right?
Again, I'm sure I'm reaching quite a bit for this one. It's probably the other one that makes the closest sense to me out of Bug for the group. It would be Kif turning into bugs, which is stupid. Don't do that. But at this point, the episodes are done. They're probably just getting a little bit of finessing. The other one would be someone else falling in love with a bug. And how would they play off of that?
Nothing to do with anybody. You're right.
Yeah. Would it be the professor falling in with someone as Beauty and the bug being super ugly, or maybe is someone beautiful like Kif or Amy or even Bender falling in love with a bug? I don't want those ones. I much prefer this to be a random off episode that has something to do with nothing we've said.
Right. Well, if we think Beauty and the name title, Beauty and the Beast, right? So basically, Beauty or Belle is there
Stockholm
to try
syndrome,
and right. She's there and she falls in love with the goodness of the Beast, despite the fact that he's this hideous creature, right? So Beauty and the Bug. We don't know any characters specifically who are like bug-like aside from Kif, but even then, that's only for one of his stages.
And maybe Zoidberg. And again, that's
Zoidberg, Zoidberg we can throw away like, oh, you're a stinky bug or you're an ugly bug or something. But that's such a throwaway comment if that even exists. So that's kind of a reach. I would say you're probably right. It's probably going to do with something not related to the main characters, aside from like maybe one of them with a new one that is a bug, and it could be like an alien bug character.
Yeah, Scruffy. I don't know.
If they made a full on like centric episode focusing on Scruffy, I mean that'd be great.
I don't think I would love that as much as I would love to see something like that. I just think because of how Scruffy's character is, just like, who are you? I'm Scruffy, the janitor.
Scruffy. Yeah, exactly.
I've never seen you before. I've never seen you before either.
Yeah, exactly.
That's literally his entire character arc, except for the wash bucket loving him.
Toilets and boilers. Fire me if you dare.
Him looking at space jugs all the time or whatever.
Who's this guy? Oh, what was his? That was in Murder on the Planet
Express.
He
had
an intern. His own little, his intern, right?
Who died somehow and never, and you saw the skeleton remains of, and you never heard or saw from him again. No one even mentioned it.
Well, no, he comes back because it turns out it's all just it's a facade anyway. He's part of their little party thing at the end. We just never see him again.
I have to double check.
Well, sorry, just even going back, like blah 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 blah, back to the temp. Maybe could be something to do with him. That could be something else as well. We didn't really consider, but I think that's such a throwaway thing. I don't think they would do that. But anyway, I digress. My only other thing with Beauty and the Bug is, so we've already talked about Kif and his family turn into like these hook flies or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe I'd say like maybe 25% possible. Zap Brannigan dates his mom.
I don't want that. They already did that episode.
They've done that a few times with Leela and everything. But I mean, like, how do you really piss off Kif? But then when Zap gets canceled, Kif kind of threw that out there. Like, he showed what his feelings were, but then he still ended up going back to work with him. So, I don't know. Hopefully they wouldn't repeat it. But that's my only other idea, is that maybe Zap does something with that, because Bugs and the Kif family, or the Croker family. I don't know. All right, so let's move on here then to.
Well, hold on. What do you expect to give this episode? I know, like, we know nothing about it really, but I'll say 6 out of 10, just because we don't know what it is. But I'm also like, I don't have high hopes.
I don't think I have any other standing point. I think it'd be equivalent to Quids Game. I'm gonna go 6 out of 10 just to be safe.
Yeah. Same here.
Nothing crazy out of it. And if I'm blown away, I'm blown away. But we'll see. I have a feeling it's gonna be funny. Like, it'll have some good jokes, but I don't think it'll be that good of an episode. We'll see what happens though. All right, one is silicone, with the other gold.
Oof. I have no high hopes for this one.
Yeah, so we'll just get this out of the way first. So one is silicone, the other gold. This is a reference, of course, to the Parabox, which you and I kind of discussed last time. What's that, sorry?
You and I both believe that it's going to be based off that episode.
The title is a reference to that episode, hence why we think this, right? Yeah. This is, of course, being the in the alternate universe of the Parabox, one of the Paraboxes that the professor invented. The Bender that we meet is a gold one, and the one we know is silver. And so what happened was Bender of that universe and our universe flipped a coin, and it came out opposite sides, thus giving themselves different coat jobs. Yeah. One was silicone, the other gold. So
the reason why we are not happy or looking forward to this episode is because it's written by the same woman, Maya Williams, who did the Parasites Regained, which we were like, that was probably our most favorite episode idea at the time before it came out. And then when we saw it, it was just such the biggest letdown. And this one, I feel, will be the same thing. It's like, you remember how the episode with all the other universes? Oh, we love that episode. That was a great episode. Gold Bender, dude. Oh yeah, we love that episode. Written by this lady who just. I think she screwed up on purpose. She screwed up on purpose, in my opinion.
It feels like it was just like, oh, hey, we need to do something. I love to do something with Dune. It's like, oh, we don't really want to use Dune. We want to have the parasites back. Why don't you do something with the parasites? Like, okay, maybe I can mix them together and put them into the litter box, and they shrink down again and do all this stuff. Maybe on paper it sounded a lot better, but the execution of that episode was not good.
Awful.
Yeah, absolutely awful. This, again, I don't want to say that she's the worst part of it. If she does this one and it also comes out quite bad, then we can probably throw her like under the bus on this, because this is clearly some kind of issue with her, unless she's being told. But then why would her name be the only one that's on the writing credit, right? My hope for this would be, or at least my thought with this for this would be, the gold bender from that universe finds a way to make it into our universe. That would be the first step, I would say. I don't know what would happen, but I think that would be the case for this. I don't think they're necessarily traveling through universes again. Maybe they would do some kind of across the Spider-Verse type of scenario with a whole bunch of benders, which would be kind of fun. But I feel like that'd be
kind of did that with the ending of the first Futurama
with the
movie.
Paradox, right? Yeah. Except maybe this time there's like, what if there's what if there's a society of benders, and the gold bender brings our bender into it, and then this is how he kind of gets brought in to the whole society of benders, and they get into a whole bunch of shenanigans. Maybe something like this.
What does the silicone have to do with it though? Because that's one of the things that doesn't make sense to me. Because like the whole thing was like one is silver and the other is gold. That was what we loved and stuff like that. But one is silicone and the other is gold.
I think he said no. What he says, one is silicon. Silicon's his coloring.
I thought it was silver.
I'd have to
rewatch it, but
yeah, we'll see, when we rewatch the episode. But I'm pretty sure he says one is silicon, the other is gold. I think, unless we're like completely misremembering this whole thing, and this is like a complete side.
Completely different, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure he says like one is, or maybe he does say one is silver, but so maybe there's another silicon one. I don't know, because silicon I think is like a silvery color, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Well, I don't actually know. I might be thinking it's blue, but I might also be thinking of cobalt.
Well, Bender is slightly bluish gray type of thing, I guess, but that could just be the coloring of the episode they made him in, so, or the show, when the show made him that way. So
either way, let me just say that Maya Williams doesn't have the best track record in my. This would be her fourth episode that she's written. She did the Da Vinci Code, not too bad. I enjoyed a good chunk of that episode.
Yep.
I'm not saying that she's terrible, but the last one was just awful. Well, and then she also wrote Assy Come Home, which was.
Right, which we've been kind of using as like very base.
Yeah. That one was a minimal. It was a play on words that became an entire episode, which was like, okay, cool.
Yeah, exactly.
The idea behind it was funny, but the execution wasn't very good. But the shiny ass part was funny. I'm biting my own ass. That's the greatest thing I've ever seen. There was bits of funny jokes.
And then we've talked to death about the Parasites Regain. So yeah, for her, well, let's put it this way: one really good hit, one whatever kind of mid, as you said, and then one horrible. So instinctively, I want to say maybe she picks up for this one. We'll see. But
yeah, I hope.
I'm pretty sure this will be another Bender episode, because the other gold, this is clearly a reference to that. Even if it was silicon or silver, I'm pretty sure.
He does say silver. I just looked at the transcript. Bender, our Bender 1 is saying make new friends and keep the old. One is silver, and then
one is
Bender
gold.
A, and the other is gold.
Okay. One is silicon, the other gold. In that case, in this case, maybe, you know what? This could have nothing to do with the parabox, and this could literally be Bender changes his color.
It could be. I do like your idea that you had earlier, though, that somehow Golden Bender comes into our universe, and you could make that one of them silicone as well. So,
right. It could be another. There could be,
and then Bender 1,
Benders. Yeah.
Or sorry, Bender A, our Bender would get jealous or something, as he usually does when one of his close friends makes a new friend or something and ignores him. Sure. I think it's going to be a Bender centric episode, and I'm all for that. I'm just saying the track record does not look very good. So like I said, the Da Vinci Code was good. The Assy Came Home was lower. The Parasites Regained was just absolutely terrible. The one episode I think you and I agree that we hate, which we don't hate Futurama. We love it, but this one we hated. Yeah, so if this one's abysmal, then just get rid of her. I don't care that she's married to one of the writers. Just don't hire her. Sorry. Sure. You're not. No, I would say it's one of those things where you hire based on quality, not on someone's skin or sexual orientation or any one of those number of check boxes.
Yeah, definitely have their merit, right? Like at this point, you would think the Futurama episode or Futurama writers, they would have vetted and they would have known a lot of people over the years who had trademark episodes that they would want to write again, especially for coming back on a brand new channel for new viewers. Like you'd think that, but. We'll wait and see, and let it speak for itself. We'll have to find out. All right, let's go to the next one then. Attack of the Clothes.
So all I'm saying is just I don't have high hopes for that episode.
Sure.
So like I'll give it a 4 out of 10 so far.
Okay. with the parody of Attack of the Clothes. This is clearly a reference to episode 2 of Star Wars, Attack of the Clones.
Or the TV show Attack of the Clones, or the other TV show Attack of the Clones.
Nope, those are called the Clone Wars. Those are different.
Right.
That's why
what about the Genndy
Wars.
Tartakovsky one, the 2D one that first came out?
Clone Wars.
Really?
That. Yep.
Well, that one was awesome.
It was called 2003's The Clone Wars. But no, it's all the Clone Wars. Attack of the Clones is the actual Star Wars episode, episode 2. However, nothing is going to happen with Star Wars in this. Maybe there's a chance that they would have Mark Hamill come back in as like a guest voice, but I don't think so.
Written by Ariel Ladithon. I screwed that up. But she did the I Know What You Did Next Christmas, which I thought was okay. I know you were like, it did have timey-wimey stuff, so whatever.
Yeah.
But the Attack of the Clothes, probably something to do with clothes being cloned.
No, I'm thinking they're going to have like clothes that are probably going to be like, they're going to be like, oh, we're going to dress you. Like, it's like, oh, I'm so lazy, but I don't want to dress myself anymore. So somebody, like the professor or something, is going to invent something that puts the clothes on for them. And then the clothes are going to get sentience, and then they're going to take over. That's what I'm thinking.
Okay. When you first start there, I was thinking that it was going to be exactly the same thing as the
Jimmy Neutron.
No.
Oh.
it was a Futurama episode. War is the H word. It's something like that where war be declared. So Fry and Bender have to go fight against it, but Leela like, I can't let my friends die. I love Fry kind of thing.
No, I don't think they'll redo that. However, if they do, then like, I think
if it was shot for shot and it was just with clothes, I'd be happy with that. I'd be happy with that, to be honest.
I wouldn't. I'd be like, what a like cheap trick, man.
Oh, 100% would agree with you on that. It was cheap and a very low level hanging fruit. They did like little effort or whatever. But I would love it because it sadly enough, that would probably be the best one out of the ones we've seen so far. If it was literally a repeat, but instead of balls, it was clothes.
But it doesn't have the same jokes, right? Because like the balls are kind of there also for like double entendres. So if you have like when Bender also can't say the word ass, right? That whole episode ends with him like, he can't say his favorite word.
Yeah.
Up until the end, right? So, and he's like, where do you shove things up a ball? Like, you can tell these balls, like, first we jumped 10 meters in the air, then we jumped 15 meters in the air. Like, you can't really do that with clothes, so it definitely won't be that.
We had a 5-thread count, and then a 30-thread count, and then we had a wool 50-thread count. Oh,
whoa.
And then or Attack of the Clothes, it could be wool versus polyester versus cotton or something like that.
Oh,
I don't know.
We're gonna have like wars or a fight over like who's wearing what. Oh my god, wait.
Fashion war. It's gonna be a fashion war. Yep, there we go. We figured it out.
Attack of the Clothes. Or okay, what if
the person
what if
who has nothing for this one?
What if it was something to do with like people, just to play on like modern sensibilities, right? Which is unfortunate, but people can't wear or they say that they can't do something at work or something. They put up a big fuss and then all of a sudden they can, right? So what if it's something to do with clothes? So like, oh, I wanted to wear this at my job and they won't let me wear this now or something, or maybe something to do with fashion in a sense. And so they have this whole thing and they're just fighting amongst themselves or something against it. I don't know. Attack of the Clothes. It's hard to say.
I don't know.
I'm going to go with my chip idea, though. I think it's sci-fi. It's kind of related to the things in that universe, but at the same time, it's just a bunch of hijinks, so it probably won't amount to anything by the end, but it could be funny.
Yeah, honestly, I have no... Again, just like the Beauty and the Bug, I don't really know what to think about this one, other than that Attack of the Clones, Attack of the Clothes. It might have something to do with that. If it's a fashion thing,
again, if they have like the king of the clothing or the rebellious leader of the clothes, like revolution or something, is voiced by Mark Hamill or another Star Wars alumni, then all the power to them. Do what you gotta do.
I guess. I don't know. I won't have high hopes if it has something to do with
I'll say again, for these ones, I'm gonna go 6 out of 10 for this.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 5. I'm gonna keep it as neutral as possible. You passed, but wasn't good.
Your neutralness. Tell my wife I said hello.
Right. All I know is my gut says maybe.
Nice. Okay, Planet Expresso. I actually think this one would be funny, and I think this is going to
be an actual Futurama delivery company episode.
Yep. and I think it's actually going to be them delivering coffee. They've changed to coffee delivery. I honestly, I don't think there's much else to say. Like, this is a very self-explanatory title, if this is indeed what it is. Bill Odenkirk is the writer.
I think he's written some good stuff.
He's written a few, I think. Although this is the first time this season, I think. He didn't do last
He
part.
did How Hermes Requisitioned His Groove Back, which we loved.
Nice.
A Tale of Two Santas.
Nice.
That was one where they killed off.
That was the second one. Yeah.
Insane in the Mainframe. I love that one.
Oh yeah, that one's good.
Kifs Get Knocked Up a Notch. And then the one that we've been talking about a couple times ago, the Farnsworth Parabox. So I would say he's got probably a B+ track record.
Yep, absolutely. He's written some really good episodes. I'm gonna say Planet Espresso might be really funny. I'm gonna say like 7, maybe 8 out of 10. I'm gonna have high hopes for this one.
I'm gonna hold my breath on this one and keep it at a 7. I really want to say 8, but so far I think this would probably be the best one. If they do the Temp thing with Ignorant, that would be the best one. But so far this is probably the first one, then the One Amigo, I would say.
Okay.
But the person on Reddit that I found speculates that this is going to be about discovering the true 5 million year old story behind coffee. So time travel, I don't think so.
Oh man, that totally just takes the wind out of my sails. If they did something where it's like about coffee and looking for coffee,
I honestly think it's just going to be an episode about them transporting coffee, and Fry's going to do another 300 cups of coffee or something like that. I don't know.
If they do the return of him drinking a whole bunch of coffee because it gives him like powers, then absolutely that'd be hilarious. Planet Espresso, I'm gonna stick to that. Okay, damn, yeah, that guy. If he has inside information, because he's probably right.
It's just some random guy. I didn't research into him. I don't think he has any power, but he didn't say anything about the Temp, Beauty and the Bug, One is Silicon, Attack the Clothes. He didn't say anything about those 4 episodes, so he's just speculating.
Yeah. Sure,
but that's a weird thing to speculate.
Or he's pretending to speculate. He's pretending to speculate because he's choosing not to talk about those other episodes to throw people off his trail, right? Like, you gotta think like the mind of that, something like that.
Do you think that companies like Disney and all that stuff, they actually leak stupid stuff like that? Like the whole Spider-Man,
They've been doing it for years.
Andrew Garfield being in Spider-Man, they leaked it on purpose. Do you think they did that?
That I don't know, but it's a proven track record that they leak things all the time.
Well, the only reason why I say that is because somehow Jimmy Kimmel had Andrew Garfield on his show. It's like, no, man, that's not. That's fake, and it turned out to be true.
Turns out to be real. Yeah.
So
it's like, you can do anything with deep faking these days. It's fake.
Oh, 100%,
but of course, he's under contract. He's not allowed to say anything anyway. So even if they did do that, I think somebody just got lucky, got a close up of it. They put it online. It got out, and information.
NDAs are a thing, guys. Don't forget that. If they ask you to sign one, read it.
And Garfield said, or was told rather, you can't say anything. If you say anything, like, bad things will happen. So he had to keep his mouth shut, and I think that's what happened. With other things in the past, actually, this is for Star Wars, for Empire Strikes Back, there was actually conversation because they had a bunch of extras. And they heard the conversation that would happen with the characters, right? Like the dialogue. And there was this bar or something that was across the street from where the studio was. This is a story I heard from
this is in the 80s, right?
Interview with Mark Hamill. This was in the 80s, or like late 70s, or early 80s type of thing. Because 1980s when it came out. And so what happened was when they got to the scene where Vader reveals himself to be Skywalker's father, because that was dubbed, right? Like, James Earl Jones is not David Prowse, who was the original like actor who played Vader, but James Earl Jones is the voice, right? Yeah. So David Prowse would speak to Mark Hamill when they're acting, obviously, and then they would dub him over with James Earl Jones. He said Obi-Wan killed your father in the actual back and forth with him and Luke Skywalker. So Mark Hamill left the scene thinking, oh, hey, that was like Obi-Wan's the actual bad guy of this whole show. So then afterwards, George Lucas and I think it was the director of episode 5. I'm trying to
Spielberg, yes.
No, not Spielberg.
Yeah,
but those two, they pulled him in. They pulled Mark Hamill in. They said, listen, you know this, we know this. So if any of this ever gets out, we know who talked. But this is actually what was said. and this is actually what's going to happen. And he was the only one of the cast who knew that Vader was Luke Skywalker's father. Han Solo didn't know, or sorry, Harrison Ford didn't know, Carrie Fisher didn't know, like nobody else knew. So when they saw it at the screening, Harrison Ford even looked at him and like, how dare you?
Yeah,
How dare you
I've never seen that.
So
I love that because that was the biggest reveal ever in cinema.
A huge thing. So the reason I bring this up is because across the street from that studio, or wherever this area was, where the people would get together for drinks afterwards or whatever, they would talk and tell people like, oh yeah, by the way, like this is Obi-Wan Kenobi's like the real bad guy. And so there was headlines they're saying like Obi-Wan Kenobi might be the real bad guy of Star Wars and blah 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 blah. They had a lot of propaganda stuff. So they leaked this stuff on purpose just to throw people off. This happens all the time, and it's been happening for years. So I would say what we're talking about, Planet Espresso, right?
Yep.
If this guy had some information, he would purposefully only talk about a few, throw in a few lines, but make them oddly specific just to throw people off of what it could be, and then not talk about the other ones. That's what I would say, but I don't know. All right. Anything else about Planet Espresso?
Well, all I gotta say is just, do you like people who leak stuff like this? No. I think one of the greater examples in history, another series which you and I both love a lot, Harry Potter. When the 6th book came out, or something like that. Spoilers, by the way, about the 6th book, Half-Blood Prince. People read it so quickly, and there's other people who hadn't got it yet. They were actually lining up out of like bookstores and stuff like that. They would drive by and go, Snape killed Dumbledore.
Right.
And like they would do stuff like that, and I like looking at synopsis and stuff. I'm a big fan of One Piece, right? And people will put out spoilers and stuff like the chapter is going to be about this, and then the next day the chapter is going to be about this, and like go down the list and everything, right? I will actively look at those because like it's I want to see what happens. But if someone tells me, I'm like, whoa, dude, you didn't ask for my consent about spoiling this.
I'm one of two minds. I hate the idea of people spoiling something for other people because
to ruin it on purpose, like to ruin it for them.
Ruins it on purpose. However, just like you and I we just spoiled. Yeah, sorry everybody, not really sorry because it's been like over 20 years.
What,
Dumbledore
2005 or something?
Yeah, Dumbledore, 2007 or 8 or something. Yeah, Dumbledore dies in the 6th book by Snape. Oh my God, read the book.
There's more to it than that, guys. There's way more to it than that. There's love and the worst simp ever in history.
Right. All this, mind you, a lot of people probably already watched the movies too, right? So no one doesn't know about this thing. But in any case, reason I bring this up is because I think there's also a timeline where people should be freely able to talk about things because if you wanted to watch it or see it or read it, you would have. If somebody made something for you at like, it's been like 20 years and I haven't seen, I don't care, name it Lord of the Rings, right? It's been over 20 years. Oh, wait, Frodo gets his finger bitten off? It's like, bro, the books have been out for like over 80 years and the movie's been out for 20 years. Like, if you don't know this and you cared about that, like that's on you. That's what I would say. But yeah, like people, like the day it comes out or the day after it comes out and people are screaming it down, like that's.
It was within hours. It was within hours or something like that.
I knew somebody who she was buying the book and literally people in the lineup were talking about how he died.
Kim?
No. This is another person from high school, a long time ago. So like people were just talking about this, and I was just like, that sucks. That's horrible. Anyway, let's move on here. Cuteness Overlord. I
have nothing about this. Maybe Nibbler would be the only thing I can think of.
Okay. I was actually gonna say Amy.
Really? Well, yeah, because right, she had cute reduction surgery or whatever.
I think it's also because she just always uses the word cute. But I didn't even think about Nibbler. You thought Nibbler, I thought Amy.
Well, the guy for this episode, it's about impossibly cute beanbags, like Beanie Babies, I'm gonna guess.
Oh, so it won't have anything to do with. That's what the guy guesses. Okay, so my guess would have been, because I was thinking Amy. I was thinking she's gonna get like high on power, and she's gonna like be a complete bitch to everyone all the time.
You really like Amy this season. You really like saying stuff about her.
Amy, well, based on the titles of the episodes, I mean, well, Beauty and the Bug.
Sorry, just remember Quids Game. Leo Wong. Something to do with Leo Wong.
Why?
Because the original the Squid Game, there's the old Asian guy who wanted to do this stuff, and turns out he was one that owned it. A rich guy, which the Wongs are incredibly rich. And
sure. Okay.
Something to do with Amy Wong's parents.
Huh. Okay. So maybe they're the ones that set up the Quids, the Squid Game type thing, and like kidnap. So Kif, because they don't like Kif.
I don't know. It's the only
There's
thing
an
I can
idea.
think of or
Yeah.
something like that. Which
Food
I
for
don't think
thought.
I'd want that because it's not Billy West being him. But
Right. It's not. He's not evil anymore. Now he's just a jerk.
yeah, yeah.
But for Cuteness Overlord. So you know what? Actually, maybe I'll switch that over. I'll say Nibbler. Yeah, Nibbler will be he'll get too much power, or the Niblonians will come to Earth and they'll try and take over. Something will happen.
You know what would be
And
cool to
yeah,
include?
mm,
Nibbler would have like because he's like a bazillion years old or something
yeah,
like
he's
that, right?
old. Yeah,
His son or something like that. He has a
right.
kid or something like that. Like not
Maybe
brand new. We won't say brand new because
yeah,
whatever. Just
maybe
like
he takes over. Maybe
yeah,
somebody
exactly.
one of them take over. Oh, maybe there's like an evil Niblonian that comes to Earth and tries to take over and has like a grudge against Nibbler or something, and
That would
then
be funny.
that'd be
That would be
fun. I'd
very
watch that.
funny.
Yep. And he can be played by Peter Cullen because Frank Welker is Nibbler, and like they were opposites, so like Optimus Prime and Megatron, except Peter he
Peter
could
Cullen.
be Peter Cullen. He could be the bad guy instead of the good
Oh,
guy
that
this
would be
time.
cool.
Would that be cool?
Okay, well we've already made a better episode
Yeah.
than what we're probably gonna get.
10 out of 10. Make
Yeah,
it happen. Go back and
yeah.
redo this. Yeah. But no, I think that would be kind of fun. I obviously don't think that will happen, but I do think it has something to do with Nibbler. Now that you say that, because I totally forgot everybody calls him cute, and he has like the cuteness power. So
I hope so. It'd be nice to have a good Nibbler episode,
yeah,
but I don't know. We'll
we'll
see.
see. Okay. Wow, we're almost done already. Futurama Mystery Library, not to be mistaken for library.
Yeah,
Although
Liberry,
it's probably
like
supposed to be
yeah,
library,
like
as this.
strawberry.
Right. This is obviously a reference, or at least Liberry is a reference to the brains from the day the Earth stood stupid, right? That was
That
the
was the
first one with
first
the
time we
brains.
saw him, yeah.
Yeah,
And then the Wire Fry was the second
that
time.
was the second time. And this is also written by David X. Cohen, but it's also with Jeanette Lim and Patrice M. Theron. So I'm
Yeah.
guessing those three, each one of them wrote a story, and it's probably to do with the brains. Although they're kind of destroyed, so maybe there's a remnant of it, or maybe it's a story by them about the history of them or something. That was my guess.
Well, hold on, let me think here. Because the
It says
was it
mysteries.
was it the Wire Fry when he blew up the thing and then he went back in time and then
Wire
Scooty
Fry.
Puff Jr. saw.
Yes, that was the Wire Fry. Yeah.
Awesome. So technically, if Fry survives that one because his Scooty Puff Jr. crapped up on him and he got sucked into the universe of nothing with them, it's just
Yep.
gonna be them reading books in that nothing of universe.
So do you think it takes place during that time, and they're all like, "Hey, let's pass the time"? It's like, oh, what else do we have left to do? He's like, "There's three mysteries. I've got three mysteries
some
here."
of it because the guy just said it's an anthology episode, which there's three
What it
writers
is.
and each
It's
one could do
absolutely
their
an
own
anthology.
thing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And if it's the brains talking about stuff, that's
Yeah.
fine as long as it's not stupid like the last one they did with the Prince and the Product. It's fine. Because if it's about the main characters and it being canon and terrible, no, I'm good, thanks.
Yeah, exactly. No, this is definitely. I mean, the title of it is literally the Futurama Mystery Library. Like, it has Futurama written into it. It's a
Oh yeah.
it's a meta thing, right? So this is definitely not it. I don't think it's going to be canon. It's probably going to be with the brains, and it's probably going to be. I like that idea of them actually just like sitting around, like, let's talk about the guy who did this to us. Like, yeah, and then they can make like a little mystery thing, maybe like how Fry dies. Oh, what a way to knock on Fry! But maybe this is a way like they kill Fry in all their stories, and they use the characters as like their mystery people or something. Like maybe there's a Clue parody. Maybe there's a Murder on the Orient. Oh, they already did Murder on the Orient Express. Let me think. Then there were fewer, like maybe some other Agatha Christie's or something, or Perot, something like this. Maybe they have
Classic books maybe that
Oh
Fry
yeah,
wrote
because it's
terribly.
library. Yeah, yeah. So they probably use like famous, like maybe there's like a Sherlock Holmes parody. There's probably a Clue or something kind of parody, and then there's probably like a Perot parody. So they're using like
All
all
right.
these famous detectives. Yeah.
Here's an idea. Because in the day that the Earth stood stupid, Fry was in the library. He wrote a terrible book, which is why I, the big brain, am leaving
Yeah.
Earth now, for I am the greatest, and now I'm leaving Earth for no
No reason.
reason.
Yeah.
So library is spelt wrong as library, which
Yep.
Fry is
Because
not
Fry
good at
doesn't know how to
spelling.
spell. Yeah,
So
exactly. Yep.
Maybe somehow during whatever time he was at the library, he's like, I enjoyed writing terribly. I'm gonna write some other books, and it's the brains just like going like, oh, why are we reading this? It's written so terribly. The words are spelled wrong. They're reading
Yep.
Fry's stories, and maybe
Oh.
it's Fry doing his version of Sherlock Holmes, his
Oh
version
God.
of classics kind of,
So
right?
I love that idea. I think that'd be hilarious, and especially because Fry's like his idea of understanding of what Sherlock Holmes is and all these other detectives and how they do that. I think that would be hilarious. The problem is, I don't think he had enough time to write all that stuff because he literally just
That
wrote
would be
the
the
end
one
of a
flaw.
story. Well, that was
That's
the only
my
thing
one
to
flaw.
trap the brain, right? That's the only way he got it out. So he just wrote that whole thing in like a span of like 2 minutes. But you know what? There's a possibility. There's a possibility. We'll have to see. But you know what? I'm gonna cautiously say 7 out of 10 for this. It's going to be better than the Prince and the Pauper, or sorry, Prince and the Product. And I think that's
It'll
going
be
to
better than that,
be
yeah.
yeah.
I'll give it a 5.5 because if it has something to
Okay.
do with the brains, I'll knock it up to 6.5. But if it's just a weird thing that doesn't make sense or whatever, like the Prince and the Product, I won't like it for now
Okay.
until we actually see it. My hopes are for it to
Yeah.
be, my hopes for all these is to be 10 out of 10, but realistically,
Yeah. I
they're gonna
God, I hope I
be,
love every single one of these. And the
you know,
first part of the first part of the season was just a huge accident.
yeah, the diversity
Yeah.
hires, not actual
We'll
writers.
Yeah, they just put their names on it and they didn't give the credit to the writer. Like that doesn't say anything good about it either.
Yeah, so they made it bad
Any
out of
case,
spite. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, last one of the season and for this list here. So otherwise, okay. So before we get into like what you, because I know you and a few other people have had a few of these very similar ideas of what otherwise could be, and we'll get into that. This one says, what does it say? Nona de. Oh, I'm so
Okay,
sorry
so
for butchering this
that
name.
is
Spargament. Spargament.
that's not an actual name. So what's that called when someone uses a name that isn't theirs as a writer?
Oh, a pseudonym.
Yeah. Okay. So that's actually
Oh
Ken
no, so
Keeler.
that's a fake.
That's
That's a.
fake. It's a fake
Anyways,
name.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a
So
fake name. Sorry.
that's that person who did that is called the actual name is Ken Keeler, who in fact has written all of the finales, the series
Oh, okay.
finales
Because
of
I
all the
remember you
stuff.
saying that. I remember you saying that. I'm like, oh, I guess you were wrong because he's not
Yeah.
writing this. But
No.
nope, there it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
He wrote the Devil's
Ken
Hands or
Keeler, you
Idle
bastard.
Playthings. Great episode. Probably one of my favorite episodes because that's when Fry has got new hands. So he wrote that
That's the only reason
episode.
you like it is because Fry gets hands.
Yeah, well, by the devil. He also wrote a good chunk of the Into the Wild Green Yonder,
Yep.
and that was probably I think either the best one or second best movie in my opinion. He also wrote the
Over
overclockwise,
clockwise, yeah.
which was
Or
the
over.
season finale, but it also
Yeah.
wasn't the series finale for the Comedy Central run.
Yeah. And then meanwhile, right?
And then they also brought it back again and did Meanwhile, because at that point, Futurama was like, "Are we getting another season? A
Yeah. So
season
they had to keep
7?"
on. Yeah, they had to keep on writing something in
Yeah,
case they got canceled, right?
yeah.
Right. So the fact that he's also doing this, maybe it's just a joke at this point. It's like, okay, we're going to give
I
you the
don't
last
think so.
episode. So
I think it was like, crap, we're not sure if we're gonna get another one. This could be a one-off because that's kind of what's happened to a few other shows who got brought back. They only got like one season, and then they got recanceled again. Or it's just
yeah,
how streaming works, right? They'll throw 1,000 darts at the wall and like 5 will stick. They're like, we'll just redo those ones.
sure.
So
Well,
otherwise,
okay,
sounds interesting, and it's written by a guy who has knocked the ball out of the park every time he's done it.
that's true. Well, I was just going to say, if that is the case, if this is going to be like a one-off season, they were just finishing off, they just brought it back just for like whatever. Um, I would say for the Beauty and the Bug thing, it's absolutely possible that Kif will turn into his hookworm thing, his hookworm or his hookfly
Hookworm
form,
fly thing,
because
yeah.
that is, I mean, what better way to end it than with he and Amy basically being like, okay, this is how we're going to be from now on, and if they don't continue, then
Oh, sorry, the Beauty and the Bug thing.
yeah.
It could be about Lur and Dinda.
Okay. I mean, that's a
It's a
strange.
strange
So
title to
it's
have,
just as
yeah.
strange as Zoidberg being the bug, right? But whatever. Okay. You're right. We actually haven't had an Omicron. Well, the Rage Against the Vaccine kind of brought them in, I guess. But you're right. There isn't really much of an Omicron presence in these so far. We'll see. Maybe even Cuteness Overlord. Maybe Lur gets like some kind of like facelift or something, it becomes like super attractive.
Oh,
And then
we never did say this about Cuteness Overlord. It's being written by Christian Gore, who's Al Gore's daughter.
huh, that's right. I forgot that she wrote on this show.
Yeah.
Any case, with otherwise, go ahead, Mitchell. What is the
Oh man.
main
Okay.
thing with otherwise?
This
Go
is
for it.
what I would love for this to be.
This takes a little bit of explanation.
Yeah. Okay. So the wire Fry, right? We'll go back to that episode where the brain send Fry back to the past to stop Nibbler from sending him to the future. So when they have that brief conversation of like, why would you send me to the future and stuff like that? Well, we have to. You're the only one that can save the universe. And he's like, well,
Good Nibbler impression, by the way. That's
yeah,
really good.
right, yeah. And so basically, he's like, Fry's like, well, why would I want to go back to the future kind of thing? And he's, or no, Nibbler asks him like, what isn't there stuff in the future that you love? He's like, well, there is Leela. And then Nibbler's like, oh, you must mean the other.
Mm-hmm.
And they never
ever
touch on that.
Yeah.
They never ever touch on like there's another person that has something to do with saving the future. Mm-hmm. All right. So my thoughts about this, otherwise, which maybe not will happen, but something I would like. So the whole thing was that the reason why Fry was so awesome and why they had to send him to the future because he didn't have Delta brainwave, which is why he's his own grandfather. Blah blah blah. So the whole thing was
he's his own grandfather, which is why he doesn't have the Delta brainwave.
Sorry, yes,
it's the other way around.
Yes, sorry. Yeah, he did, yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's his own grandfather. No, it's
right.
It works either way. But yeah, he doesn't have the Delta brainwave. So the whole thing is that
which makes
maybe
him immune to the brains. Yeah. Right.
Maybe his brain power or whatever it is not enough. But yeah, it hurts him when he thinks. I need to think of a way how to use that. So my thinking about this is that Leela's the other one, but she is not the grandmother of herself because we've met her grandmother, at least on her mother's side. We don't know anything about her father's side. But I won't get into that. So my whole thing is that because they've progressed their relationship a teeny tiny bit by her moving into Bender's closet, she is now pregnant with Fry's child, who would technically be his father as well. Maybe.
Right, because he's the sure. Yeah, because if he's his grandfather, then well, no, because his seed is with that other woman, not with Leela,
yeah,
right?
I guess that would be the case. Yeah.
That's his line. This would be his actual child.
Okay, I guess parody or whatever.
Because he's not
Anyways.
paradox, because he's not in the past anymore. Right.
Yes. So his child would I would think would inherit the non-delta brainwave.
Right.
But because she's pregnant with their child at the time, she gives off those brainwaves, but her child does not. Her unborn child does not, thus making her the other one. So whatever kind of thing there has to be where it's the brains are the bad guys again for some reason, or maybe even the big brains bosses or whatever, reptiles. Who knows? Mm-hmm. They also get affected by this delta brainwave thing, and so they need two people to work this machine or push a button or something like that. But since it's just Fry, he can't do that without the other one, which happens to be a pregnant Leela. I don't know. It's just throwing it out there. I just would really love for somehow Leela to be the other one, whatever it might be. It doesn't have to be my thinking about it. It could just be that she's the most human mutant there is, so somehow that's important. I don't know.
Well, actually, and because I'm going to touch on that in a second, this is what I was kind of considering. So taking your idea and whoever else thought about this with Leela being the other. If there is something, because Fry, as you mentioned, Fry is like a total moron, as we've talked about many times. Fry is like dumb. But what is the thing that always drove Fry to do anything was always Leela, right? And I'm not even saying just about the future. This is also like, who does he write in the Devil's Idol play or Devil's Hands Idol play things? Like, who does he write that for? He writes it for Leela. Who does he
move 1,000 million stars to make I Love You Leela in the space sky?
Right. Who's the person who got so depressed because she was with somebody else who was a future Fry, by the way, and he tried to go in. Or sorry, no, he got so depressed that he even went back in time twice, mind you, but he stayed there, and the only thing that ever kept him happy was something that reminded him of Leela, right? Like she is the thing. The narwhal. Yeah, the narwhal.
I like things with one thing more than I like things with two things.
Two things for some reason. Yeah, he doesn't even know. It's in his mind, right? And then when he's finally with her and he tries to do all these kinds of things, and then he even commits suicide when he thinks that she's not going to show up to the Vampire State Building. And meanwhile, but it turns out he was like delaying his time. So he can't live without her. So this makes sense that she would be the thing that inspires Fry. I don't think that she is necessarily important to preserving the future, but I think she's important to Fry in order to do the job that he has to do. This could lead to him being, you know what? I mean, if this was a one-off thing, this would be the perfect way to kill off Fry. The perfect way. I don't think they'd do that because it's a comedy show, not a drama, but I feel like that would be a really good send-off for his character.
I think it did get renewed for another season, so I should say that, but I'm not sure.
If it did, then obviously they can't do that. But if they don't, and this is like the ending, the other thing that you mentioned, their child, don't forget, and as you just mentioned, Leela is like one of the most human looking mutants, and they even say this in the episode where we find out she's a mutant, that she has like barely any mutation. She's almost human except for that one giant eye.
They do occasionally throw in jokes in there with like her talking boil and that she has elbow talons. Yes. And then there's that one episode where she she lays eggs every so often. There's that one episode too with when she turns into this octopus thing or something like that. But then like mom cures her of that.
Yeah, exactly. Mom cures her of it and using all this stuff. That was kind of a weird episode. But I would say, I mean, at the time, she was the only mutant that was like the most unmutant looking person, right? The mom episode where they go to the laboratory in the sky, like the fairy tale ripoff episode, I would say that one kind of throws it off. But
yeah,
there is a chance that maybe there's something regarding the fact that her mutation, or the fact that she's a mutant that has like this look, and Fry's lack of a delta brainwave is something that will turn into something that's even more important in the future.
Oh,
and so that
epsilon brainwave
or whatever is like some kind of mutant child offspring that can't have his mind read rather. This is a character that could either be very, very harmful for the future, or it could be the hero that they all need, and this is what Nibbler is trying to do. But otherwise,
on November 2nd, 2023, Hulu renewed the show for a 9th production season of 20 episodes and will air in 2026.
Okay, there you go. Wow. Air in 2026. So they're going to take another year off after this one ends. Okay. Fine, Futurama, do that. So maybe there's going to be a giant cliffhanger. And we have to wait.
Depends, because that was just like a few months ago in November, right? I'm pretty sure they would have had most of this already written out by that point.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so maybe this is supposed to, we'll have to see.
And just an FYI also to viewers, you don't, when a show has all the episodes stuff, they don't really necessarily write it or animate. They don't do the production in chronological order.
Right.
They don't do like, we'll start with episode 1, then go 2. They'll do a random order, and maybe sometimes it's just like this episode has a lot of crap in it, so let's get that one out of the way. Or it's just going to be like a cliffhanger.
Overclocked work or something like this, right? Yeah. Well, whatever they decide to do, I do hope it's good. Otherwise, I don't know.
I have high hopes for it because it's written by someone good. It's written by someone good. So I will say that I'm gonna break through I'll put 9 out of 10.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna go 8, but okay.
It's written by Ken Keeler, who has had a great track record, and I if it bites me in the ass, then I'll never watch Futurama ever again, and I'll go kill myself or something. I don't know.
You'll jump off the Vampire State Building yourself.
Yeah, I'll jump off the Vampire State Building. Although, let me say this though, to kind of defend myself a little bit. The last episode Ken Keeler did was the How the West was 1010001. So, and that wasn't the best episode.
Which I thought was 7 out of 10. Like, that was actually one of the higher ones for me. Yeah, but it's just because it was a one-off episode and was funny. But it could have been better for sure. Yeah.
I'm calling you out. It did have good jokes in it. I'm not saying it didn't. It just I didn't like the concept of the episode.
Sure.
So
play some Jamaican music. I mean, like I said, when we were talking about this last episode, I thought that episode had some really good jokes thrown into it, and I do like the idea of them being in the in the Wild West type of era. But yeah, like Bitcoin and all that kind of stuff, it was definitely dated. Any case, if otherwise is there, but with all the other endings of the show, all the series finales, quote unquote, which one do you have an order of which ones you like, or do you have
I'd probably say in chronological, just
Oh, really?
Overclockwise, I would say is probably the weakest one, because a lot of it's led to speculation. When Fry and Leela are reading the future that has been semi-predicted, because it's a prediction, right? Because if you want to believe that if you can predict the future with 100% accuracy, that's insane.
Right.
Overclockwise, I would say is probably the weakest one in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it was just because he was so smart and he was getting everything predicted very quickly that he was like kind of up there. But
I love the
yeah,
devil. Or I
that's
don't.
a
Oh, crap, what's that
like,
called?
you know what? I'm actually gonna say for the episode that I think I enjoy the most in terms of, because when it was gone, I think I absolutely loved Meanwhile first. Then it
That one
was
was pretty good. That one was pretty
Yeah, that
good.
one was a beautiful ending because I thought the show was done. Like I thought that was a beautiful ending.
All right, now that I've given this thought,
Yeah,
the devil's hands are idle
Devils.
playthings.
Yep.
Not otherwise. Meanwhile,
Meanwhile, okay, so you and I are switched, but
the
that's fine. Yep.
wild green yonder ending,
Yep.
and
And
then
then overclockwise.
overclockwise. Is that
Sure.
it? Am I missing one?
Nope. Nope. That's it.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
overclockwise was written as a finale, right? Yeah. So
Yeah.
no, I
So
agree. So
yeah,
if otherwise is
there we
good,
go.
I hope it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll finish off there. So those were our predictions for this episode. Hopefully the stuff that we talked about that we like, that we consider would be a good thing, does happen in some regard. That would be very
I
good.
doubt it.
Of course, but you never know. We just hope that it doesn't suck. Don't do what you did last time, part A. Do something better, part B. Make sure you follow through with the storylines. Make sure you are keeping true to character arcs and character continuity. And for God's sakes, put Fry back in the front. Like, make him a character again. Don't put him to the side. Make sure you do stuff. Yeah. Any last thoughts before we finish off then?
No, not really. But put out the episodes all at once. I just want to binge it. I don't want to have to.
It's not gonna happen.
Yeah,
That's
well,
definitely not
no.
gonna happen.
They did a weekly thing with part one. They'll do a weekly thing with part two.
Okay, I'm okay with that though. I'm actually very happy with that because then we get to.
You know,
talk.
that's how TV was originally was. I love the binge model because I got nothing going with my life, so I can just binge a whole thing and be sad or whatever.
Good luck. Part
Good
two.
luck,
Hopefully you're better, and we look forward to seeing you. And then for all you viewers, we definitely hope to.
We know there's about 12
see you,
of
but
you.
hopefully you'll be able to hear us for in a couple of weeks or maybe even sooner. We look forward to doing season 3. Our friend is going to be joining us as well, a horror fan who runs his own podcast, also with me as a co-host every so often. For Fear Itself or Fear Itself Horror on YouTube as well. So you guys can check that out as well. But in any case, yeah, thanks again, Mitchell, for joining me.
No problem. It was fun. This one was only about an hour?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, and we do talk about season 3. So we'll get into that. All right. Have a good one, man. Talk soon.
Toodaloo.